On the Radio is brought to you by Zurich Insurance, the perfect place to catch up with all things Melbourne. If you enjoy this content and want more inside access from the team, make sure you visit the club website.
So the D's went down by 14 points yesterday, kicked 3 goals in the last quarter for their first loss of the season. They came home strong, that's for sure. Watching. Daisy Pearce joined us. Must be a bitter pill to swallow yesterday. Daisy, how are you?
G'day, guys. Yeah, always disappointing the day after a loss, and yeah, it was a bit of a disappointing outing for us. We knew going over to Adelaide, the quality side that they are, we were going to have to be near our best, and we didn't produce that. We sort of played some okay footy in patches leading up to that point, and gotten away with it, but consistency was certainly something we were chasing, and yeah, we gave Adelaide a start and took too long to get going, but credit to them. They showed us that we've definitely got some work to do to be right there with the best teams at the end of the season. But thankfully that lesson comes in round 4 and now we just go to work.
Daisy, you've been in the system a while now. Would it be fair to say that the competition has improved remarkably since you first pulled on the boots?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, in every facet, whether it be athletically and from a strength and power point of view, and then the talent that's come through. I mean, you see the impact that some of the draftees have in their first season. They're a bit more complete in terms of their football development when they come into the system. So that's certainly increased the competition as well. But even for those of us that didn't have that luxury of playing in pathways year on year, the exposure to an elite environment and the resourcing you get in an AFLW environment, you're certainly getting better each year.
It looked like Adelaide's defensive skills really shut you guys down. The zone, look, to me, it's the one thing that the girls have got right. Their zones are incredible. If there's one bad kick, it almost goes straight to the opposition straight away. What can you do in this situation? What can happen when someone's defence, their zone is just that strong?
Well, it's certainly a feature of Adelaide's, has been a feature of their success, and it was on again yesterday. A big issue, what goes hand in hand in that is a really strong midfield that's hard to beat. So when they get on top, you kind of have to send extra numbers in to support an overwhelmed midfield, and in doing so, you're almost handing them the other part of their game, which is spare numbers behind the ball that, as you said, zone off, read it really well and make it hard to penetrate once you've given up numbers getting drawn into the contest. So it's always a balance. You hope you can kind of match them in the middle of the ground so you don't have to concede numbers ahead of the ball. But when you're not winning it, it almost becomes something you just have to put up with. So it's a constant tug of war between those two things against a side like Adelaide. And it's not like we got beaten yesterday by any surprises. It was exactly, as it played out exactly how we knew their strengths are and how they like to play, but we just weren't good enough to kind of arrest it on the day. But, as I said, we'll go away and just try and get better in the areas where we fell down yesterday, our ability to be a bit cleaner and harder around the ball. And then when we get the few looks that you get early in the game as well, you have to be good enough to put a bit of scoreboard pressure on, because the other way to diffuse it is to keep sending it back to centre bounce by scoring the odd goal here and there, because the longer it goes on with them on top in the territory game, it just gets harder and harder to penetrate.
Daisy, we've spoken about this off air a couple of times about the lack of scoring, that for the game to go to the next level, we need more scoring. Is shortening the ground or bringing the wings in an option, or do you think we need to keep the grounds at the same size?
I don't know. I think there'd be a trade-off if you made the ground smaller. It would create greater density and then maybe easier to defend. That's the other thing at Norwood Oval, with it being more narrow. It probably takes away the ability for us to spread the ground and move the ball like we might at Casey. So I don't know whether that would necessarily fix it. I think part of it too is just length of quarters and things like that. I mean, our quarters are 13 minutes plus time on, so the entire quarter is lucky to go for 20 minutes. So it's a lot less. So the lower scoring is sometimes a matter of that. And you see games open up a lot in the latter parts of the games is a bit of a trend, I noticed. So maybe if the quarters did go longer, you might actually see some freer flowing footy in the back end. I don't know that there's necessarily a quick fix to a higher scoring rate, but certainly longer quarters I think would help, and a bit of fatigue and open up the game a little bit.
What about the boys last year? Obviously, Melbourne won the flag. Has that given the girls a bit of a little bit of a lift and a little bit of belief in what the programs that they're doing may rub off on you girls?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it doesn't guarantee anything, as we know and find out yesterday. I mean, it was definitely inspiring, and I guess their journey with its own unique challenges. We've had some similarities in terms of where we've been at on our journey. So to see the boys go away and go to work and have success, it does give you some belief that it's achievable, but it also shows you the amount of work that goes into it and the amount that has to go right. So, whilst we were really proud of the boys and inspired by their success, and we've been able to, draw out some really good insights from some of the leaders, the players, and also the staff that cross over into our program. It's down to work and learn what you can from that, and then we have to get on with our job.
Days, footy's a winter sport. I want to see you guys start the season in March, around the same time as the fellas at some stage. It's got to happen. Give us some insight what it's like playing AFL footy when it's 35 degrees, it's humid, it's sticky, the ball's slippery. I mean, I'm sitting inside watching you guys with air-conditioned luxury thinking, how on earth are you doing it?
Oh, it's horrendous. I won't mince my words.
I'm really glad you said. You know what, Days?
That it's fine. You have to. You know what it's like. You can't concede that.
Yeah.
It's going to be tough, and the opposition are playing in the exact same conditions. All of those cliches, but I lose sleep over it.
Yeah, honestly, the fact that you said then is horrendous. I mean, I'm glad you did, and I know you're a sports person. You're mentally tough, and you're not going to say it's horrendous on the day you're going to push through.
But it is hard.
But it is bloody horrendous. And your season needs to start in March, and it's got to happen at some stage. Is there any light at the end of that tunnel that the season might start at the right time?
Obviously, there's lots of different factors that go into the decision of when we play. But as a player, there's no when you run out on a 35-degree day and it's humid, it is a tough game to play over the course of a couple of hours. So. Yeah, it's just what we have to deal with at the moment, and you make do of it. But it's tough going. But it's not the only factor that goes into deciding when the game's played. I understand that, but if it was from a pure player comfort point of view, give me a 15-degree rainy Melbourne day any time.
Yeah, well, we'd like to see the game played in those conditions as well. I think that would give the game a lift also. Dace, thanks for your honesty. Bad luck about the wind. Let's get some bad luck about the loss. Let's get some wins on the board.
That's right. Thank you, Daisy.
See you, Daisy.
Thanks, guys.
Good on you, Daisy Pearce.